Dear guests and media friends, welcome to the Anker SOLIX booth. Today we gather to explore a critically important topic, driving the green transition, making energy accessible. I am Friedrich Stiemer, I'm your host for this session. So today the global energy transition is facing critical challenges, and the greening universalization of home energy systems is becoming a key foundation for achieving the goal of carbon neutrality. And balcony solar storage is becoming an emerging hotspot to promote the residential energy transition in Europe due to its innovation and practicality. It is with great honor that we invite Mr. Hans-Josef, President of the Energy Watch Group and a renowned energy climate expert, as well as Daniel Fuchs, the Chief Customer Officer from EUPD, to join us today. They will analyze the current situation of the German photovoltaic storage market and offer insights into the future of residential energy transition in Europe. So please welcome our first speaker, Daniel Fuchs, Chief Customer Officer from EUPD Research, an internationally recognized authority in the field of renewable energy with a focus on market trend analysis and insights into consumer behavior.
Thank you very much for the very kind introduction. Yeah, it's my pleasure and my honor to be here today at our friends from Anker SOLIX. Yeah, I'm invited to deliver a few KPIs based on our latest research project that we have mutually done, covering plug-in PV plus storage systems. A couple of words about our company. EUPD Group was founded in the year 2000. We are following global market developments from a research, consulting and improvement perspective for more than 25 years. And also lately we have on our radar very closely the small-scale residential balcony storage or plug-in PV and storage systems, which is no longer a niche. Yeah? It's becoming really more and more important. Let me start off with a few key findings we have seen in the recent study. So in the year 2024 alone, we saw installations of plug-in PV systems up to 2 kilowatts of around 506,000 units, yeah? More than 500,000, which brings by the end of 2024 the cumulated capacity in terms of units to approximately 800,000. For the year 2025, this trend moves on. We even see a new increase, a surge, and say in Germany only, and I was just talking, sorry, about Germany in the figures, we will install about 675,000 systems only in the year running, yeah, which is great. What makes it even more important at the end of the day is that when we calculate that into a market share in the residential segment, we will have by the beginning or end of this year 8.2% of the whole residential market capacity is balcony or plug-in PV plus storage. So yeah, we have of course also investigated a little bit in the study what are the factors behind this huge surge. Yeah? First of all, we talk about Germany now as an example, regulation. Yeah? We do have the regulation in Germany in place. It starts with incentives, it is VAT exemption, and even more important, there is a regulation now in place that the tenants do no longer need, living in flats, do no longer need the approval of the landlords in order to install a plug-in system, yeah, in their flat, on their balcony. That, when we translate it into population, gives now access to half of the population in whole Germany to participate with us in the energy transition. That is great, yeah? And we are just at the start for the small-scale systems. So yeah, these are all great findings. And yeah, let me say another driver for this segment is self-consumption. Yeah? It's nice to have a very small system or residential system on the roof, but if you do not optimize your self-consumption, yeah, because if you don't have an energy storage system paired with that, yeah, you feed in for 7 cents, or what is it actually, or currently in Germany, it's nothing. It's far better to consume it. So the study also said that the self-consumption by means of pairing the plug-in PV system with the energy storage system can maximize the self-consumption usage by up to 94%, yeah, when you have a storage system with your plug-in PV system. So we see, I don't want to talk too much now, Hans-Josef will be the next speaker, but yeah, it's no longer a niche, it's not a fad. Yeah? This is an emerging segment. Anker SOLIX does have really great innovative products, product designs, and yeah, we appreciate Anker SOLIX great commitment towards the energy transition. We work together now for many years, and with that I hope I all gave you some positive insights, optimistic insights for the small, very smallest scale segment. And yeah, that was it from my side, my short speech. If you need more information, you can give me your business card right afterwards. Other than that, thank you very much for your attention. It was my pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Fuchs, for these insightful presentations. So it has greatly clarified our understanding of the market trends in Germany's battery solar storage sector. So moving forward, we will now focus on the central theme of driving the green transition and making energy accessible. So please join me in welcoming Shaun, CEO of Anker SOLIX, and President Hans-Josef for this session. Mr. Fell is not only an internationally renowned energy and climate advisor and chair of the Energy Watch Group, but also one of the co-drafters of Germany's Renewable Energy Sources Act, EEG. So since the 1990s, he has profoundly shaped the global energy transition throughout legislative advocacy, academic research, and public outreach. Meanwhile, Anker SOLIX has accumulated extensive practical experience in advancing decentralized residential energy solutions. So we are confident that the dialogue will provide us with both inspiring insights and actionable recommendations on how to bridge policy ambitions, technological innovation, and consumer adoption. So let's look forward to the enlightening discussion. Please have a seat, guys. So guys, thanks for being here. So my first question would be, we would like to know the current state of development, pain points, and recent related market policies and impacts of residential energy transition in Europe. Please, Mr. Fell.
Mr. Shaun, thank you. With Anker SOLIX, I'm excited over your products. They are very, very important to go to the decentralized mini grids, home residential, even grid connected, because of a lot of challenges what we have in the world. We see the challenges. Rising of the global temperature is very, very dangerous. We need a very fast transition to a zero emission energy system with 100% renewables. We see the challenge, the wars and the fighting over oil and gas, financing criminals, dictators, their wars. We must come away from this. We see problems in the world with insecurity in the traditional energy system, like Spain last week. Suddenly, the people had no electricity. When you come with Anker SOLIX products to these people, they can have, even in a blackout time,
Thank you.
electricity, not only for their refrigerators, also for their cars and plenty other things. We can look to the market where you can grow. Look to Ukraine. Terrible how this destroying of grids and big power stations. The people want to have decentralized energy, secure energy, independent from foreign influence and others. And therefore, it is so important to go to a 100% renewable system. And this is a combination between big systems, like wind power offshore and onshore, like hydropower, bioenergy in winter times to bring renewable heat and electricity, geothermal, and in the center stand solar. Solar has the biggest potential, and the fluctuations of solar can be solved by batteries. You have them. And when you come to this combination, bring the people to the possibility that they can make their own energy. Then they have that what they want. Cheap energy, secure energy, round the clock, every time, the whole year. It is important. I love that you can create a very big market. Then you can help to solve the big problems, climate warming, secure energy, cheap energy for the people. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Mr. Fair. Thank you for this encouragement. I think as a company, we see already a very good progress here in Europe, and especially in Germany, about this green transition. I think in the past decades, people here really invest, really trying to devote themselves into this whole industry. That's why today we can see here in the whole event, you can see so many companies, so many advanced technologies, and so many nice things happening. So I think that's a tremendous progress we have made so far. So however, if we look into today's progress compared with the target, which Ms. Fair has just mentioned, that we want to really have a zero emission, and by the way, the time should not be 2050, it should be much earlier, otherwise we will face a bigger issue. So the progress so far is not enough, On the other side, thank you. On the other side, you can also see right now the whole industry is facing some difficulties. So from government side, they already paid a lot of subsidies. Only in year 2023, I think the whole Europe paid around 60 billion euros to support this green transition. It's not a small amount, and it's not an easy decision. But even with such kind of huge investment, you can see the progress of the penetration rate, especially for the distributed and decentralized solar and storage system. The growing speed is not increased like a triple or double. So we see this kind of efficiency is getting slower and slower. If we continue in this way, it will be very difficult for us to achieve the goal. On third point, you can see also for the consumers, nowadays it's very difficult for them to make a decision whether they want to go to a green energy solution or not. It's not because people they don't want support. It's because the decision is too difficult to make. For example, the entry level of the residential solar system normally cost about 15,000 to even 20,000 euros. So to be very frank, only rich people, even here in Germany, a very rich country, so only rich people can afford this kind of solution. If you think about ROI, the return of investment, it normally takes you more than 8 years, 10 years, or even longer. So that's why the government has to give a lot of subsidies. So the subsidy is helping the industry, but also sometimes it's also hurting the industry. Because when the government does not have enough money, when they stop giving subsidies, like you see in Italy, once they decrease the subsidy, actually the whole industry is start to shrink or even crash. So I think that's the biggest issue we are having at the moment. I would say in an ideal world, we would really have an industry which is very healthy, which means all the manufacturers are producing very attractive, a very good solution to the consumer. And for all the consumers, they don't need to think about whether I should or whether it's too difficult, too hard for me to go for the solution. It should be very easy for them to make the right decision. Okay, right now I pay several thousand euro, and I probably can get all the investment back in 3-5 years. And by the way, I also contribute a lot to the green energy transition. So we hope this kind of thing can happen in the industry, and at the end of the day, all the government, our society, all the consumers, and also the supply chain all benefit from this kind of a healthy flywheel, I would say. It is not easy. But in the last 2 years, for the balcony power storage solution, so we see this kind of things are happening. So we are not getting so many subsidies, so as all the consumers. But the government gave a lot of policy support, right? They increase the burden from 600 watts to 800 watts. They allow the people to insert directly to the Shuko plug. So with all this kind of nice things happening, so we see some possibilities are there. And we believe in the next few years, with more possible better solutions, like we are bringing right now the parallel system to the world, to the booth, I would say this can even benefit more for the individuals, but also for the whole society. So thank you very much, Mr. Phil, for your encouragement. I think we can all together work more on the solution side.
Thank you very much for these insightful replies. So the second question would be, how can vendors like we as Anker SOLIX add value to the green energy transition and energy inclusion process? Mr. Fell?
You do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it is so important that the people can have cheap, renewable energy to bring their whole energy demand for themselves in their houses, in the communities, in the villages, in the decentralized areas. This is a key to come very fast to 100% renewables, what we need, what I told about it, for climate protection and to come independent from fossil and nuclear industry. It is a key that the people can do it. You can organize energy sharing. We have a renewable directive that the householders can connect on themselves. In Austria, it is already realized that people can share the energies between the houses, between the inhabitants in all their houses when they have a big house with a lot of numbers of the people with him. So energy sharing is important. You have the products for energy sharing and you can show them. You can help even the people who have no own roof, but most people have a balconia. So when you go to the balconia modules with a battery system, then you can help them to overcome a blackout, like we had it in Spain or often in other regions. Look to South Africa. They wanted to go since decades only to coal power. I was in South Africa. They had nearly only blackouts. When they would have solar systems at the home, they can overcome it. Or I was in Nigeria. They have a lot of diesel generators to avoid the blackout systems. So stupid. They have to pay a lot for the diesel systems. And the sun is shining all the day in Nigeria. They want to have your products from Anker SOLIX all over the world. It is a solution, and therefore thank you for your technology production. Thank you for giving the people your products. We need them in not million systems, in billion systems.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Fair. By the way, I think last year when I was in US, even the advanced country like US, they had a lot of outage. I was in Texas for about 2 weeks and experienced 2 times of power outage. And one of them actually lasted for more than 1 week. So it's not only about Africa, it's also about, I think it's a global issue we are facing at the moment. In terms of the things we can do, I think we can do a lot of things, just like Mr. Fair said, we just do it. But if we look into the last 1 year, what we did is actually we try to use an innovative product to help the consumer to expand what they can do. We are a product company, so if you look at the past regulation, it's about 800 watts you can feed to the grid. So most companies think 800 watt is a limit. But what we have been doing is we use a power storage like a water pool. So use this power storage, we try to decouple the power generation and the power really feeding to the grid. So by doing that, we help the consumer to increase their power generation from 800 watts to 2,000 watts. And also we increase the self-consumption, as the EUPD just investigated, by about 40%. So this means for a consumer, their benefit from the past to now increased more than 3-4 times. So I would say, maybe it's not the right word, but a 2-panel solution with a microinverter produce you less than €1 per day. Maybe €0.5. So it's too less for people to spend so much time to install the network. But if they could be doubled, tripled, or even 4 times of the benefit, so many people will step into the solution. So today we also bring our latest solution, which is the SolarBank 3. The SolarBank 3 will support the parallel system. The parallel system means we will break the limit from the past 800 watts to the grid to 4,800 watts to the grid. From the past 2,400 watts to today, even more than 3,600 watts per unit. And 4 units, that means 14 kilowatts above. And bear in mind, this kind of solution also brings the flexibility to the consumer. So consumer can first step into a cheaper solution, which costs them maybe 1,000, 2,000 euro. And in next 2 years, 3 years, when they have their kids, when they buy an EV car, they need more power. They could expand. They could expand the system by themselves. They can do everything DIY. So by decoupling the AC part and the DC installation part, we hope we can bring a more advanced and more benefit to the consumer. So this is the first thing we can do in terms of product innovation. And second thing we think we can do is about the whole efficiency of the industry. So here we're in a country which labor costs are very high. And if you look into a solar system, so if you want to sell a solar system to a German residents, so 2 years ago, you don't need to say anything. You just go to his house, knocking his door, and he will say, I will buy it. Nowadays, it's very difficult. You have to convince him about all the ROI, about how long time the battery can survive, about that this technique is really advanced technology, or it's already passed away, all this kind of stuff. Why? Because the customer is knowing better about the industry. They have more idea about the solutions. But all these are the cost. The cost of the salesman, the cost of the installer, the cost of the waiting time. So everything is actually making the efficiency lower. And all this kind of lower efficiency is bared by the consumer to pay for the final system. And this kind of waste is useless because at the end of the day, the consumer will become more reluctant to pay for a new system. So this kind of, I will call it a bad circle. An ideal circle will be that we could have more efficient to sell, more efficient to educate, more efficiency to install. So for example, as I said, if we decouple the AC and DC part, so for the AC part installation is quite easy, and for DC part it's also quite easy. If we can educate the consumer, okay, you have air conditioning, you have the lights, you have Wi-Fi, you have all this stuff you need to power on. These are the power you're going to consume every month. This is your electric bill, and this is the solution which you probably want to choose. So all this kind of thing can also save the cost for the installer companies. So I think the digitalization will bring a lot of benefit to the end-to-end process, not only for the consumer to use it, but also for the sale, for the service, for the whole solution. And we believe with our effort and with all the partner support, we have already a lot of installers working with us together. If we can help the consumer, if we can help the industry to reduce the cost, let's say by 30 or 40%. So at the end, it will not bring the revenue less. It will actually bring more people into the interest of the group. And at the end of the day, we will have a much bigger market. We'll have a much bigger green transition speed. We will have a much better future as well. So that's something we try to do together with our partners and with professional support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so a bit higher. So thank you to our esteemed guests for the enlightening view. So the insights have painted a promising picture of the future of home energy transition in Europe. Now we move into the media Q&A session. So I invite our media friends to actively pose questions and engage in deeper dialogue with our guests. So please briefly state your media organization and your question. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Fritz Leach. I'm the editor in charge of Forum. We supported balcony systems, formerly known as, wie hießen die früher? Yeah, but before it was called, Hans-Josef, you know it, not revolution system, because before it was forbidden to do it. And we are very happy. We have been fighting a lot that it is now allowed in Germany. And in Germany we are very successful. We are a media, but I even sold a few thousand installations because these little kids are very educative. People see that it is simple, that it works perfect. They are starting to think and reflect their consuming behavior. And now we are trying to bring it to Spain. And that's what I would like to say to you. It's not only the cost, it's the regulation. And Hans-Josef, you know it, the regulation has been the biggest problem. Their biggest problem for the introduction. Now there's no more problem in Germany, but in Spain we tried to do it. In Spain it's also allowed, but you have to make sure that there is no single electricity going into the grid. And to make that sure makes the installation much more complicated than just to plug it in. So I think we have not only to work on the price, we have to work on the information and on the regulation. And if we join forces, then we can really start a revolution. And that's what we should do.
Thank you.
Yes, you are very right. Regulations are important. When any country forbids installation for solar, we have no chance. Spain did it 15 years ago. They forbid to invest into solar. We cannot accept such an idea because it's only protecting the polluting industry of oil, gas, coal and nuclear. Therefore, we have to fight on a political way for everywhere allowing renewable energies. The easiest way is when the people do it by themselves without any grid connection, then we have nearly no regulations. But the better way is when they have surplus with their electricity production, they should feed up the grid, because not everyone has it so easy. A big industry factory needs so plenty energy that they cannot fulfill it with Balconia modules. It is impossible. Therefore, we need to collect from decentralized people in thousands and millions of people this electricity to bring it to the factory systems, to the centralized energy consumers. And therefore, regulation is important, that we can stimulate a fair internet and fair grid access for everyone, and therefore both is important. The more people do decentralized make their own energy, the more the regulators on political level will learn this is the best idea. And then they will come. Therefore, go both ways. Autark systems without grid connections and grid connection systems to feed up the grid to fulfill 100% renewables for everyone, for the whole society.
Thank you. Yeah. I think you are perfectly right. We discussed with Ms. Fell. I think today we are able to help 100,000 people, families, having this balcony solution because the regulator has agreed to give this kind of approval. I think that's a big step forward. Without this big step forward, it is impossible to develop this kind of solution and helping these 100,000 people who live in the flat, who live in maybe a small house, to really have this kind of solution fit for them. Looking to the future, I think we are still quite optimistic with Mr. Fell's support. I think there's no reason to not allow this kind of system to grow more. Because at the end of the day, a solar system without power storage can bring burden to the grid. And with a balcony solar system, though the power generation is quite small, it's only maybe 2 kilowatt, but with a storage system, we can even have the zero feeding to the grid. So it means there's no burden to the grid, but only the benefit to the consumer, the benefit to the zero emission. So this is actually a solution benefit all the sides. And I think we already see a big progress, big step forward here in Germany. And we hope really all the different countries in Europe can see this kind of trend is happening and give more freedom, of course, under the safe and quality constructions to make this kind of thing happen in a much faster way. We believe this is a way to reduce the carbon footprint. This is a way to reduce the government subsidies. This is also a way to accelerate the green transition. Yeah.
I want to add one important point. We must create capacity building, that the people learn the truth over renewable energies. Plenty of people are polluted in their mind with fake news. Renewables would be too expensive. We would need coal or nuclear power to make baseload. No, we do not need it. We have all the technologies with a mix of renewables and storage systems to come to cheap energy only with renewable energies. And therefore it is important that we create a massive capacity building, tell the people the possibilities, and then they will come. When they have polluted minds, they believe cheap energy is only from the grid. No, cheap energy is when they invest themselves to electricity production at a home, together in the village, together in the farmers' area, and plenty others. Therefore, capacity building is very, very important.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, do we have any other questions?
Hi, Jordan from Artisan Electrics. Check out our YouTube channel. In the UK, currently balcony solar is not permitted. And although we have less apartments and flats in the UK than maybe Germany or other European countries, there's still a large number, probably over 5 million households live in flats or apartments in the UK. In London, it's over 50% of properties are flats or apartments. So there's potentially a big market for this in the UK. Is Anker doing anything to help push regulation for balcony solar in the UK?
Of course, we hope you can help us together in push the regulator to approve, especially when they see this kind of good thing is happening in Germany. I think it will be a good sample. But I would say, yeah, even without the regulator approve this kind of solution, I think UK is also growing very well this year about the residential power storage. And I think with your support, we are already trying to give consumer more information and more education. Just like Mr. Fell said, the green energy is not the most expensive energy. Given today the power bill, how costly it could be to install a solar system, actually bring them a better benefit compared with the use from the grid. Just bear in mind, if you can get all the investment back in 5 years or 7 years, right, it's a good investment. You can't even get the money back from the bank in such a short period. So that's what we are doing together, and we hope maybe in 1 year or 2 years, more countries in Europe can approve this kind of a plug-in solution. I think that will really help a lot, and hope you can help us together. Yeah.
We'll help together. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, thank you to our media friends for your active questions and to our guests for their reliable answers. So our event today is drawing to a close, but the exploration and practice of green energy transition will never cease. We firmly believe that through the joint efforts of experts, enterprises, and all sectors of society, we can accelerate the process of energy accessibility and lead families towards a greener and more sustainable future. Once again, we extend our gratitude to our guests for their enlightening contributions and to all attendees and media friends for being a part of this event. This concludes today's session. We wish you all a fruitful experience at the Intersolar exhibition. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
It was a pleasure.
Anker SOLIX. Live in power.